So welcome, Emily.
Thank
This
you.
webinar will be watched by people all through the evening and ongoing, as you know, on Facebook. But I thought maybe you could just introduce yourself briefly. Who are you? Where do you live? How old are
Hello.
you? What do you do?
Hello, my name is Emily. I live in Croydon, so this is live from Croydon. I'm 29 years old. I am founder of Sober and Social, which is essentially a sober events company that creates events to create sober communities. I also work as my day job for a global concierge company, doing nightlife. So quite the oxymoron in terms of the things that I do.
So actually, your job is to help other people go out and have a great night out. And I guess that involves a lot of drinking, right?
A lot of drinking, yeah, it's constantly there. So it's good to have Sober and
And
Social
have
on
you
the
been,
side.
so I would imagine it's quite challenging now that you've changed your drinking habits to do those events, or how are you finding it?
Yeah, everything has changed. I mean, I'm still going out and I'm still doing everything because that's what I need to do my job properly. But obviously, in terms of like how long I'm going out for and the things that I choose to go to, I'm just a little bit more selective in terms of what I'm doing now. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to the opening of an envelope like I used to be.
Oh, I still go to the opening of an envelope. Ow. Cool. So, Emily, tell me, because you've given up, you're at 5 months now, is that right?
No, it was a year yesterday.
Well, yeah, yes. I don't know where I got 5 months from. I'm
No,
sorry about
no,
that.
no, no.
It's a
It was
whole
nearly,
year yesterday.
yeah, it
This
was
is
a
a
year.
good celebration. So, your first
Exactly.
webinar about it after a year. So, you gave up drinking when you were 28. That's actually
28,
quite a
yeah.
young age. Yeah, that's like 10 years before I did. Could you
hmm
imagine drinking as heavily as you probably were for another 10 years before you give up?
I literally don't think I'd be
No.
here. I
So
wouldn't be here.
I let me just say to you, I'm very proud of you for making the decision at the time you have, because I wish I had done what you did. So,
Thank you.
my hat's off to you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey and how it's gone? Because I think from what I understand, you've had plenty of day ones, and there's lots of people in Club Soda who have many day ones. I'm interested in your journey
hmm
because you've got there, but it's been a bumpy ride, right?
Yeah, it's taken a really long time, like from kind of drinking at 13. And when I look back on this period, I realized like I never really did have like a good relationship with alcohol. The second time I drank, I actually ended up in hospital because I drank too much. Um, and from then on, I didn't end up in hospital again, but it was never ever healthy. Like moderation was never for me. Like it just isn't built in my personality. Everything was very extreme in terms of what I was doing. I was calculated, like it's actually been 18 years that I have been drinking really full on, which is actually a really long time. Um, but it was when I was 25 that suddenly I started to question what I was doing and how I was feeling, and really taking stock of my kind of actions in my life and thinking everything that I have regretted or everything that has been destructive or negative in my life has actually been due to when I've drunk alcohol. And that was a massive thing for me. But obviously, you know that these things are going on, but then to stop that is a whole different situation in terms of, you know, how can you stop alcohol? Like everyone is doing it, all of your friends are doing it, your family's doing it, it's in your job, it's everywhere. And like to think, oh, I'm just not going to do this anymore. Like it was actually a really scary thing. And it did take a good 3 years of a cycle. Basically, I would go for a month of not drinking and then drink again. I'd go for 3 months of drinking and not drinking again, or 6 months I would run a marathon. I'd go on like a 7 day juice cleanse. I'd go to church. I would do anything really to try and keep my that headspace of not wanting to drink alcohol, but never really achieving it until obviously, this time last year.
So the times that you tried and you didn't succeed, was there a point, did you get to a point where you thought, I've got this sorted so I can start drinking again? Or was it something else? Or was it a triggery event? Or was it just, were you bored with yourself? Were you bored? I mean, I can imagine you being bored of a juice cleanse, I have to say. But,
Yeah.
can you pinpoint what it was that threw you off course? Because you clearly sound like you were enjoying yourself when you were sober, you were feeling great, right?
Yeah, I would always feel so amazing when I was sober, and I'd always, but I think that was the problem actually. I felt so good and felt so like nothing could touch me now because like I felt amazing that maybe I could go and drink and maybe it could be different and maybe it could be healthier because I was feeling so great. And so I think that was the problem in a way. That I'd almost, yeah, you almost felt too good.
I know, and I wanted to explore that particularly because it's what I call ambivalence. It's happening with me on my diet at the minute, which is that you get to a point where you've done so much and you feel so great about it, you forget how awful the drinking was, and you think you've got this thing under control because you feel so happy and positive.
Yeah.
And that's called ambivalence, and what it means is that your commitment starts to dip because you feel you don't need to try anymore. And that's a real big Achilles heel for loads of us in whatever behaviour change thing we're trying to do. And what I really admire about you is that you still kept up and picked up and started again, and tried again. So you would go, like you said, you'd go back and drink for 3 months. How did you manage to go, right, I need to try this again. I need to try this again. How did you keep going? What made, did you not ever just think, oh, I'm a lost cause, I can't do this?
No, because I think I would feel so awful. And each time I would do it, like I actually just like knew like deep down, like in my gut that I wasn't meant to drink alcohol, but it was just so everywhere in my life that I didn't really know how not to. And I think everything is a process, right? And it just kept coming back to the same point. It's unhealthy, it's destructive, it's making me feel really awful. And if something keeps coming back to you like that, it's like, okay, well, I need to do something about this because I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling this awful. And, when I don't do those things, I actually feel amazing. So obviously that is the answer, to not do those things. But it's obviously putting the tools in place and getting to that point where you really are ready, truly ready not to do that anymore, which can take years.
Yeah. And what do you think really flipped for you this time compared to all the other times? Because you've got to that magic milestone of a year. Are you feeling ambivalent? Are you feeling ambivalent? Do we need to intervene?
No, we're all good. No, I've just come back from a stag do actually. So I didn't get in until 3 a.m. last night. So do excuse me if I'm not on top form tonight.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes.
But you didn't drink.
But I didn't drink, and we got through it, and I had an amazing night, and it's completely possible to, dance crazily for 7 hours with everyone else getting paralytic. Like, you don't think those things are possible, but they really are. And you wake up and you feel amazing, and you can do everything in your life, which is the best thing about sobriety.
And what do you think clicked for you this time?
The fact that I was nearing 30, I know that it shouldn't make too much difference, but I always thought my shit would be sorted by the time I got to 30, and you're still here. It's really not. It's still a process. It's really sad. You start drinking and you're like, okay, we've still got a lot to work on here. So yeah, I think the fact that I was getting older, but also I was so bored of telling everyone, oh, I'm not drinking, or I am drinking. Like, people didn't really know what they were going to get when they saw me, because I was such in a cycle that, my friends would see me and I wouldn't be drinking. And then a week later I would be drinking. And I was just getting bored of it. And I'm bored of feeling so awful. I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I don't want this in my life. And yeah, and it just needs to, and it was getting out of control. Like, it really was getting out of control. Like, there's a point where it's manageable, and then there's a point where it starts spiraling out of control, where your life is no longer manageable. And when it gets to that point, that is when you're like, I need help and I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, I think I really resonate with that, which is, I think I knew I was tipping into that uncontrollable point. And also I was boring myself. And so something clicked for me because of that as well. I could really see that it wasn't going to go well if I carried on any further. So,
and also I think it's just a sense of like, when you're drinking, like how it ends. Like, every time I would start again, it's like, I know that I'm going to be back to this place. So what happens actually if we don't go back to this place? And I don't know where it's going to end, and it is going to be more positive, but I can just guarantee you that every time I drink, it's going to be negative. But I don't know what it's going to be if I don't. Maybe it could be really positive,
Yeah. So did you put anything in place this last time? What things did you put in place to make sure you succeed?
So I did go and speak to someone at the beginning for about 2 months, which really, really helped kind of just figure out
That's
like,
really good, and it's really
um,
good to know that you did that. So
yeah, I think it's important. I don't think anyone should kind of shy away from being like, look, I need help, or that you need to talk to someone about what you're going through in kind of any capacity, whether that's on a professional level or on a friend level. Like there is support out there, and it's really important that you get it if you feel that you need it. And I certainly did. So I went to see someone for a few months, which was really helpful, just to work out my drinking patterns and to look and be like, actually, this is really unhealthy and it's really not something I can carry on with. And just kind of saying those things out loud to another person that doesn't know you, that doesn't really have that kind of sway on you or know you, was really helpful for me. Exercise, I've always been into exercise really, but massively for me, getting up every day, setting my morning routine, making sure I'm doing something, so in a positive headspace, really helped. Meditation helped massively. I know it's all very cliche, but it has really changed my life doing that every day, and kept me on track. Reading, lots of reading, the quit lit, the old good old quitlets are amazing. Again, just, and also, do you know what? They're really good if you get stuck in a really boring situation, or it's one of those times, like where someone's like, oh, I'm running, I don't know, 15 minutes late. Oh, perfect time to go to the pub and have a quick drink. Well, if you've got a book on you, you can just quickly go sit down and grab a cup of tea and read a book for 15 minutes. Or like, you're on a train and people will be like, oh, shall we have, some Prosecco? You're like, no, actually, I'm just going to read a few pages of my book. So actually, I found that really helpful in terms of like getting out of situations that potentially might let me drink. It gave me something to do and actually filled my mind with like positive sobriety things. And also finding sober friends, really people that understand, that you can call and talk to, which I was lucky enough that I found my only sober friend in the beginning. I have lots now, but my one friend Josie had gone sober recently, and we kind of kept each other on track. So that really helped, really, really helped.
yeah, I can't believe that you did marathons while you were still drinking and stuff like that. I've only just started running now after 7 years after giving up, and I can't believe you managed to do all of that while you were still drinking.
Well, the marathon, I actually was one of my stints of sobriety. I didn't actually drink for 3 months to do the marathon. But the moment it finished, let's say a 2-day party occurred and all of that had gone down the drain.
How quickly did you do your marathon?
Well, I had tendonitis in my ankle. So I was actually very injured when I was doing the marathon. So I did it in 5 hours, 15, hobbling around. So
That's okay. I'm hobbling at the minute. I've done an injury and I've got a marathon next month.
Oh,
so...
yeah, injury is the worst. If you can get to the start line without an injury, you're winning.
Yeah, cool. Well, so I've got to beat 5 hours 15, but you're like loads younger than me, so I'm gonna have to sort of work out.
You're taller though. Your strides are bigger. I feel you've got an advantage.
Minutely bigger. I run next to Ali, and Ali's strides are far bigger than mine. So anyway, so you're in this lovely 1 year phase now, and you feel you've got this nailed. Are you ever going to drink again?
I would like to say no, but I don't like to say anything is forever in life. But I can't see when I would want to drink again. Maybe if I was like still here and I was like 90 or something.
Yeah, I've always said I'm taking it up when I'm in the old people's home. Because,
yeah, have a sherry with your dinner or whatever it might be.
Sherry,
maybe something a bit stronger, to be fair. But yeah, like if I'm still here at 90, I'd just probably think, oh well, screw it, I might as well. But to be honest, it's something for now. I know it doesn't really make me happy, and that's the goal in life, isn't it? To try and be happy. So there's nothing that will happen in the foreseeable, that's for sure.
Cool. And so you're in, I would say you're in one of your, you're in an age range where you're at the most sociable age, where going out is definitely, I always talk about the fact that we might all have issues with drink, but different age ranges have different drinking traditions. And so when you're in your 30s, before you may couple up and maybe have babies, then you've got far more flexibility to go out, and your social life tends to be very different to then probably near your mid-30s, when it becomes a bit more dinner party and all of that sort of stuff. So you're in that highly sociable age. I have to say, I never gave up that because I've never been in that sort of relationship, never had children. And so that was probably one of my problems. But the expectations on you to go out and still drink must be really huge. And how do you find that socializing? What are the toughest challenges? How do you manage it?
So in terms of kind of managing that, the main thing that I didn't want to do is to not continue my life. Like, that was the first thing I promised myself, that I was still going to be social, I was still going to see all my friends, and I was still going to go to every occasion, and really live my life to the fullest. I didn't want to be, I spoke to a few people and I'm like, oh, how are you getting on not drinking? And they're like, oh yeah, great, I just haven't really left my house. And I didn't want to be one of those people that suddenly just, didn't go to things because I wasn't drinking. So I made sure that I still went to everything. Like Ibiza, I still did weddings. As I said, I've just done the stag do. I've got another hen do coming up. Lots of 30th birthday parties this year, so I'll still make sure I do them. In terms of like prepping for that, my self-care on a daily basis is really important. But I also have this other thing which I call like staying strong in sobriety. And that's really kind of doing a risk assessment before every social situation for me, and just making sure how much of a risk is this situation to my sobriety, really, and assessing first and foremost, like, who's going to be there. Is there going to be someone sober that's there that perhaps can be my sober wingman? Or is it with people that I've known for a really long time, so I'm in a really safe space that's really loving? If I'm not, like, a lot of the time I'm going to like work events where maybe I don't know anyone, but kind of, is there someone to call if something happened, that I might need a little bit of a prep talk for? How am I going to get home? Is it easy to get a taxi from there? Or, if you're abroad, have you got the villa address? Have you got the hotel address? What time are you going to be leaving? Are the tubes going to be closed? Is there a tube nearby? Any of those things. And have I got something like on the next day that will make me accountable? Like, am I going to book in a gym session so I need to get up early? Or have I got a brunch with my mum that, obviously I don't want to be hungover for, or whatever it might be. So really kind of putting those things in place. And by doing that, I have managed to really I never thought I'd be able to go to Ibiza for a 30th birthday for 4 days with everyone getting on it and drinking and being stone cold sober. But I did because of those things that I put in place. But also I would say there are times where I don't feel in a good headspace, and I'm like, this is really triggering, and I'm actually just going to go home to bed, and that's also fine as well. So I think like not feeling the pressure to do those things is equally as important as putting yourself out there and doing those things.
I love the way you talk about planning your journey home and knowing that you can leave when you want to and you can get home safely. Those are the things we should have done when we were drinking.
Yeah, exactly. If only I knew that then, it would have been a different story.
Absolutely. So you're right. I mean, I love the fact that you basically plan for all your triggers. I did a birthday party in Ibiza as well, and I have to say the health food shops in Ibiza are amazing for picking up kombucha and all that sort of stuff. So I was okay for drinks. I just took my own everywhere. Yeah. What do you drink when you're out? What's your typical choice?
So what do I do? I mean, I quite like ginger ale. Fever Tree ginger ale is one of my top go-tos. An elderflower cordial and soda, or a seedlip cocktail, because I love seedlip, and they are kind of served in most places, which I think is really handy. Or a non-alcoholic beer. I know that sometimes for people can be a bit controversial, the non-alcoholic beer, but I actually really like it, especially in the summer, when you're kind of at a party and you can. And actually, it got me through Ibiza non-alcoholic beer, I must say, because those situations can be particularly triggering, and you do feel, you do still feel very part of something, which sometimes, it's easy not to. So I think those drinks really help. I think they're a really positive thing.
They are. And I'm drinking kombucha now because it's one of my favourite things.
Oh, an English breakfast.
I've done quite a lot of it this weekend.
English breakfast.
You're on a tea.
Well. I am.
Oh, so rock and roll.
English breakfast.
So tell me about Sober and Social, and why do you think, I mean, you're setting up a sober events company, but why do you think it's important?
Because I think people struggle to socialise without alcohol. And I really don't want people to feel that. I don't want people to feel fear when they give up alcohol that they won't be able to resume their life, or they won't be able to have as much fun, when actually you can have more fun, and there's so much more to gain by giving up alcohol. Um, and people that come to my events, it really is a mix of people, from people that are sober, and I'm sure you find the same as well, that have been thinking about giving up alcohol, or are still drinking, but they just want a night out, not in that environment, which has been really great to kind of merge all of those people together. And for people to come back and be like, I came to your event, I now haven't drank for 8 months, or like, it's amazing, like some of the feedback that I get. And I think even if it's just like, one person feels more comfortable being out in that environment, then it was a worthwhile thing kind of setting it up.
And what sort of events are you doing, or are you going to plan to do?
So I have done a yoga and brunch. I thought that was just important for kind of people to get like a good community. It's during the day, people can have nice conversations. I've done a cocktail making masterclass. I've done 2 sober bar crawls, which are amazing. I actually did one last Thursday. It was really, really great. I've done a few more brunches, and I've done a few dating events. So the aim kind of with Sober and Social really is to have an event once a month, whether that's a brunch or a bar crawl or a cocktail making class or something along those lines. And then kind of twice a year have kind of 2 big parties. So I probably won't do a summer one this year, but I'll probably focus on doing a big winter party. And then as I move into kind of year 2, we'll look at kind of doing a winter and summer party as kind of, the clubbing kind of parties. Because obviously managing that with my job as well can be quite difficult sometimes. So I think it's just, it's nice to do some smaller events, meet some great people, and then hopefully be able to do some 2 larger scale ones throughout the year.
Yeah, and I mean, I really enjoy, we've done quite a lot of pub crawls. I really enjoy doing them, and so we should swap notes on that one, actually.
Yeah, they're really good.
Well, now that we're building the guide, the venue guide, if you all go to clubsodaguide.com, you can see our best bars. It means that we can, there's a really good reason for bars to get on the guide, so that we can use them during the crawls as well. So we should definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
and I think it's a really exciting space to be in, and but also really challenging, because getting word out there is, you have to sort of cut through all the noise about drinking still, on social media and stuff. So yeah.
And also I kind of like make it my mission when I go to bars, and I'm sure you do as well, but they probably find me quite annoying, to ask about their non-alcoholic offering. If they don't have one, why don't they have one? And all those types of things. So just like, you're just every little thing that you're doing is just kind of chipping away at kind of the way society sees alcohol, and like just trying to, make that more of a thing for people to think about. Because I think sometimes people don't even think about it. And at least if people are thinking, then at least, we can start making more actions, which I think is really important.
Yeah, and I always say to everyone, it's about making that venue better for the people that come after you, even if there wasn't anything there for you that evening. And just by asking, they will get the idea that this is something that's needed and wanted, and exactly. it will get there in the end.
Yeah, I think the more people doing that makes them more aware.
I was just checking, there's no particular questions, but there isn't. I've been looking as I go along. Lots of people agreeing with you and sharing your experience. So that's really cool. So your next event is? Have you got a date yet?
Event, is on the 25th of May. I'm doing a little brunch at Mortimer House. And then cool. I will be doing another bar crawl either in May or June.
Cool. Well, let's touch base and make sure. I'm hoping with our new website we'll be able to share other people's events a lot better, so that we can begin to build that listing. So we'll put information out. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon.
All right. Happy Sunday.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Bye.